Hi everyone, I hope you're doing really well. I'm just going to do a little late night live stream just to show some of the information that I'm putting in my document today. I'm in the process of transferring information across and just doing a little bit more research on some of the latest evidence as well. So I'm just going to do a quick live stream, and I think we're really starting to get to the bottom as to why the world's in this mess. I really do think we're starting to get to this now. Connection to the Church of Satan is becoming really, really significant now. And I'm just going to show you some of that information from today. I can't see your messages, all right, whilst I'm showing this, so please forgive me. Although there are some coming up on the screen, I can't actually see them because of the images in the background and the things faded out. So I'm a former UK police officer. Those who don't know me, or police constable, I was in police for 18 years. And since 2022, with the help of others, I've managed to acquire irrefutable, verifiable and corroborative evidence of why the world's in this mess, all right? And the governments have got a system of international crime in place through the forgery of the company's house records and the incorporation documents, and basically enabling them to launder money and facilitate all of the world's problems through a complete criminal lies, exploitation, victimization. I actually think this image from my live over the last couple of days, I think it was last night, is very, very prevalent, okay, and important, because this really does signify the sort of people we're dealing with here, okay. This is the badge, and I verified that it is the correct one, so I've done a separate search from where the information came from in relation to an order linking to Wales, St George or something, I can't remember the full order's name, but King Charles is the sovereign of that order, and the Prince Edward and the Duke of Kent is the Grand Master of that order, and this is one of their emblems. And I don't think there's a greater symbology. Oh, there you go. It's actually quite good. Symbology or symbol to sort of explain how sinister these people are that we're dealing with here. So this was I acquired from an article. Those of you who saw my live in the last night or so will know what I'm saying about here. And I just happened to come across it during my research. And this is from an article where the Jamaican authorities refused to use this badge because of what it showed. And this was in, I think it was July 2020. Now that was May, June, July, 3 months after the apparent murder of George Floyd, who was a black man, apparently murdered by a white man who was a police officer in Minnesota in America. Now, I believe that was a complete deception. I don't believe George Floyd actually died, but look at this actual symbol, how it is, what they're using here to represent exactly what happened on the streets of Minnesota. I think it was Minnesota in America with George Floyd. And this is actually on the emblem linking to the Freemasons, okay, via this St. George's, whatever it is, order. I haven't got it in front of me at the moment. So I just thought I would show this again so we can see how relevant it is. And notice the chains. Now, this is clearly racist, I believe, and extremely harmful to the unity of the world. And this really does emphasize how they want to divide humanity via the differences in skin color and differences in culture and religion. So I just thought I would show you that again before we go on to the other evidence. So it's from there you go, the Order of St. Michael and St. George. Okay, so very English order. And as I've said, King Charles is the sovereign of that, and Duke of Kent, Prince Edward, is the Grand Master of that order. So I just want to look at the evidence. Where is it? Is it in this page? Oh, no, I need to go back. No. There we go. So what I've been doing today is just going into some of the other information of the Church of Satan and show you how significant this is. But before we get to that, another bit of important evidence, I'm going to show you some of the extra evidence that's going in now in relation to the clothing side of things. And unfortunately, I think this is very, very strong evidence to support what they are doing have been making, as a complete mockery against humanity, making handbags, shoes, certain clothes that they're claiming is leather out of the skin of humans and children, and it actually, obviously, it's the same thing, but primarily children. Now, it could be a deception, but the evidence is so strong in relation to this, everybody. I'm sorry to say, it does appear as though it's been going on. So we're just going to look at a bit more of that now. And we mentioned, if you followed me in the last couple of days, we got to a Prada company, and we were talking about Prada. And research shows that Prada is an Italian luxury fashion house founded in 1913 in Milan by Mario Prada. Now, this is all connecting now. Very critical connections I'm finding to the Church of Satan, Germany, to the Vatican, all linking in with this Church of Satan. Significant evidence that we're finding here. Okay, so and the Church of Satan appears to be very much involved in the crimes against the children, which we're going to come to as we go through this. I mean, I should have found some of this months ago, to be honest with you. I'm going to be showing you, but here we are. We're now looking at it, so that's the main thing. So anyway, research shows that Prada is this 1913 established company in Italy, so obviously potentially linking in with the Vatican, which I suspect it will be, and it was named for the family of the founder, Mario Prada. The company originally sold imported English animal goods, okay, that appears to be linking with the crimes against the children on estates and how their skin may be being used in fashion items. Now, obviously, you'll be aware, hopefully, of the Devil Wears Prada movie. Okay, if you're not, that was a movie that came out in 2006, the year that I moved from Kent to Dorset. Same time as the Da Vinci Code movie, which is about a deception within Christianity where the bloodline is still existing from Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And also an Apocalypso movie came out, which links to the Mayan period and therefore the end of the Mayan calendar, which then ties in with CERN and everything they seem to be trying to do with the collider technology. Obviously it's called Devil Wears Prada, and this, it's unbelievable. The second movie is coming out this year as well. I think it's coming out quite soon, actually. Anyway, the information claims, spelling mistake there, the company transitioned to waterproof nylon fabrics in the 1970s under the leadership of Mario's granddaughter, Miuccia Bianchi Prada, born Maria Bianchi in 1948, and her husband. So we're going to have a quick look at these. And her husband is Patrizio Bertelli. So the company's house shows a Maria Bianchi, her name connected to two companies, including MMB Advisors Limited, that had been incorporated as MMB Advisors Limited with the full word of the Limited instead of Ltd in July 2011. This was between the Christchurch earthquake and Jimmy Savile's death. So we're getting the link in, and it is linking in. Everyone that's saying, well, that's just a coincidence that it's between the earthquake. It's not, everybody. It links in with the collider technology, the falsified prophecies, and how it all ties in with Jimmy Savile. It's massive, okay? It has company registrations online on its incorporation document. I haven't put the link there, actually. I need to put the link in there to actually show it, but never mind, we'll carry on. Company registrations online on that incorporation document is shown throughout the research. It connects immediately to Owens and Porter, who was the managing company for Exmoor Manor at the time of my initial inquiries, and links to the Russian government. It links to the children's welfare companies from the research of the Rapid Response Group, who targeted me, to Richard Knighton, who was positioned as the head of the military via an immigration company, to Evergreen companies connecting quickly to Charles Dickens, stemming from the research of the Chinese leaders, to Tommy Robinson via the English Defence League, to Hollywood directors Ridley Scott and his companies via my mother's employer, to Hunter Biden, who's the son of Joe Biden. We're talking immediate connections here, by the way, to Stephen Fry and the Mind Group, linked with historical child abuse via the Feversham Child Abuse Inquiry, to Bernard Matthews and PIE companies, which I suspect relates to paedophile information exchange and potentially the remains going into the food chain. And we're going to come to some more evidence of that later if I have time tonight. So I don't really want to be on here long tonight. To Bernard, I've mentioned that, Bernard Matthews, from that's from Nick Goodwin, who is the head of the court system in the United Kingdom. Unbelievable, isn't it? It's all there, though, and we're talking extremely quickly connections to that. The head of the UK, who's the head of the UK courts, to Ellen DeGeneres, okay, who you're aware had the Ellen show. It's no coincidence, everybody. She started that show, I think it was 2003. She stopped doing the Ellen talk show in 2022 when I started to expose the fraud. In 2024, she then moved from America to Swindon, not far from my part of my family, okay. She then sold the house in 2025, or it was on the market in 2025, a key month. And her partner is Portia Rossi, who is very much into horse riding, and the horse riding industry links in with the bloodstock trade, which is being used to hide the blood of the tortured children in all of this, okay? It also links to the research of Julian Assange and the Doomsday Cult, and to Donald Trump's son-in-law in the research of the White House coup, as shown elsewhere. Marcio Bianchi connects MMB Advisors Limited to 9 companies, including Whitestones House Limited, that had been incorporated in 1978. Very similar to White House, isn't it? That's because it is all connected. Colin Crawford connects Whitestones House Limited to 11 companies, including the following: Shipping and Ports Management Limited, that had been incorporated in 1995, the same year as the intelligence agency and Russian government-linked royal family-linked Hackler International Advisory Board company, that is shown on page 40 of the incorporation document of the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales, that connects most areas of the fraud together, and that has dissolved since I've exposed it. The Hackler International Advisory Board company, that is. And that links to Stephen Owens, who we've already mentioned earlier, okay, in relation to the management company for Exbourne Manor. It dissolved in February 2025, this particular company, as the exposure continued, and it connects to the centralised Chamber of Commerce via its directors. They also link to the Marinas Dove Court Management Limited company that had been incorporated in October 2000 and has been a criminal company, have been incorporated with the same companies as Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited, where my investigation began. So what you need to do, everybody, you know, I'm giving you this evidence to convince you to do the right thing and to go and start making citizens' arrests. That is what needs to happen. At the very least, everyone should be putting people on notice. I don't think that's going to be enough. I think you need to be starting citizens' arrests. But if people that don't want to do that, unfortunately, I've given you the warnings. And the next best thing is to start putting them on notice. Stop paying all your taxes. Arrange meetings to get people to be part of the strategy to conduct arrests if you're not going to be doing it now. Sending emails of the evidence and the videos. You could even send the YouTube links, couldn't you, to your counsellor, to your, especially these ones showing the evidence, to the MPs. You can do police reports as well. Anyway, moving on. So it had been a criminal company where my investigation began with the same companies. On the incorporation document, Terence James Ball connects this company to properties in Dorset area linked to Exbourne Manor, and to Daniel John Dwyer and D&D Law Agency Services. That makes major connections to the criminal network and the Doomsday Cult again, and back into Tommy Robinson as well. There's a couple of spelling mistakes here. And that's via Stafford House Swanage Management Limited, and Swanage is down near Dorset, so that is it's in Dorset. That is the area where Deborah Fleming was the chief executive in the NHS. They also connect to Rail Freight Users Supplies Group that had been incorporated in February 1997, which is not long before the death of Princess Diana, and it was within 2 months of that the founder of the Church of Satan died, and we're going to come to that a little bit later if we have time. And this company connects to Lord Anthony Berkeley, and on the incorporation document he links to Channel Tunnel companies, which I've already confirmed. The Channel Tunnel rail link was connected to the fraud. So what these big projects enables them to do is funnel millions of pounds through those construction events, defraud the masses through the taxation, and then use that money for the crimes against the children they funneled through the organisation. This is that Lord's Wikipedia entry, just so you can see his face. I mean, it's interesting. They have actually, there's not many people on here, is there? Only 46. They've actually left my video on, and they didn't take my video down from my showing my evidence yesterday. So that's really quite interesting. So here he is. He, I believe, is going to be linking to the Berkeley Home properties and companies that are massive in this, that links directly to, if it is him, I think it will be, to, what was his name, Matt Hancock, involved in the COVID deception. Okay, Matt Hancock links immediately into Berkeley Homes property companies. All right, now they are trying to literally acquire the entire world through this criminal network, take over the world. And if we just go back to the document here, they also connect to East of England Tourist Board that was incorporated in 1976, and it has criminal company Slaughter and May on its incorporation document. Slaughter and May was originally founded in 1954, which is the same year that CERN was originally founded. Yeah, and Slaughter and May, sorry, it wasn't founded; it was incorporated. The main company was incorporated in 1954. The same year that CERN was actually founded. But I think Slaughter and May goes back, I think it's 1898 it was originally founded, which is the same year as the first cell tower was erected on the Isle of Wight. Okay, the first mobile communication tower was erected on the Isle of Wight, which links directly to the Vatican, everybody, via Marconi. John Philip Atherton connects this company to the Southern and Southeast England Tourist Board that is shown at an important time of the research elsewhere in the document. You can look at that later. Company's house shows that the husband, Patrizio Bertelli, remember these are the owners, current owners, I believe, of Prada, the Italian clothing company, connected to Church Holdings UK Limited. They've been incorporated in 1999, and its name had been changed on the 7th of August 2007. 2 weeks before Exmoor Manor Freehold Limited was incorporated. And we'll just have a quick look at some of this. So here's his name. You can see Church Holdings. So it appears to be making a connection to the religious establishments immediately. You can see here it's established in 1999, dissolved in 2018. Here's the previous company names. It's got Prada Holdings UK, PLC as one of its names. And that was from 1999 to 2003, either side of the World Trade Center. And then it last changed its name, as you can see, 7th of August 2007, and I think it was the 21st or 23rd, I can't remember, of August 2007 that Exmoor Manor Freehold Limited was actually incorporated on Company's House. Ricardo Stilly connects this company to 6 companies, including Prada Retail UK Limited, that had already been featured in the research previously that I've shown. And they also connected Jill Sander UK Limited that had been incorporated in July 2000. Palex Corporate Services that had already been connected directly to Calder Island Development Company Limited and links to Cogent, and therefore the Podesta brothers from the Pizzagate scandal linking to the Clintons is shown on the incorporation document. And that is shown in my research, interestingly, stemming from Maria Farmer, who was the original accuser of Jeffrey Epstein. Very, very interesting. So she's compromised by this, which is an interesting concept in all of this. Alistair David Duncan Smith connects Jill Sander UK Limited to 8 companies, including Louis Vuitton UK Limited. Right, so we're starting to see these connections now to other leather goods companies that are possibly the most, and we're going to actually talk about Louis Vuitton a little bit, possibly the most expensive luxury items companies in the world. I think Louis Vuitton is one of them. It's been incorporated as Louis Vuitton UK Limited in 1982. Before its name was changed in April 2002 after the World Trade Center disaster. And it was changed for the last time in 2006, which is when the year I transferred from Kent to Dorset. Simmons & Simmons is on its incorporation document, which makes an immediate link to Field Fisher, the BBC, the Royals, the main currency producer De La Rue, which has recently been acquired in July last year by, Atlas Holdings Limited. And it came off of the London Stock Exchange for the first time since 1947, which is when the doomsday clock began, everybody, okay? It also connects to the Vatican immediately, to the Sweeney Todd Group, and vampirism, and major areas of the criminal network and the apparent crimes against children. So this is Louis Vuitton. I'll just show it to you quickly. Incorporated in 1982, you can see there. I haven't researched that solicitor. That will lead straight in, I would have thought, from Brown Jacobson. You can see the previous names at the bottom here, changes of name. Last times were in 2002 and 2006. And then on the incorporation document, I'll just show you. Now, I'm not going to show you the other stuff because you can do that when you get or you can go and look at it yourself if you've got the document. I'm just trying to show to you that, everything I'm saying is with the evidence. So even if I just show that every now and then, you can see that I'm telling the truth, you see, which is important. because you need to know that the strategy then I'm giving you is based on the truth. So here's the incorporation document. You can see Dominion Street. I don't think that's a coincidence. Dominion. Okay, that makes a potential link into the scriptural side of things. Just having a quick look if there was anything else on here, actually. Why did I come into the incorporation document? Let's have a quick look on here. 5 Clifton Street. Oh, yeah, I was going to show you the Simmons & Simmons. Also, this company, OIES, that links straight into the NHS. Okay, it's literally straight close to the NHS. It also links to, what's his name, Douglas Smith, who was the special advisor for the last few UK prime ministers, who was arrested for threats to kill, and has started up Fever Sex parties, and also started, is involved in the dark arts, according to Nadine Dorries. Got a few more people on here now, which is good. So that's Simmons & Simmons, linked straight to the Vatican via my research, straight to the BBC, straight to this symbol, which really does symbolize, I think, who we're dealing with here quite a lot. You know, they appear to think that they are the good people, and this isn't an inversion. Of course, this is pure evil in my mind. They're just symbolic, showing the George Floyd death, which I don't think happened for real, but it's still very, very sinister. Research shows that Louis Vuitton is a French luxury fashion house and company founded in 1854. Okay, so this was 10 years after Companies House began. And the Nazi-connected, which is going to come relevant now as we go through this. Remember, we've got the German connection in all of this, linking into the Nazi regime, but the Nazi element is also a deception. Okay, it goes back much further than that. And it links in with the Vatican and in with the satanic element in this. Now, we can't ignore this. But the Siemens, the Nazi-connected organization, which links to Jeffrey Epstein via the research and CERN and the Collider technology immediately, was founded in 1847. So that was 3 years after Companies House began. And 1844 is also when the Young Men's Christian Association started, which now also is tying in with this, okay, because it is linked to Christianity via the Church of Satan in a massive way. In fact, the Church of Satan was named after, which we're going to come to a bit later, I think, a Christian night in Germany. Anyway, the labeler's LV monogram appears on most of its products, ranging from luxury bags and leather goods to ready-to-wear shoes, perfumes, watches, jewelry, accessories, sunglasses, and books. Louis Vuitton is one of the world's leading international fashion houses. It sells its products through Sandalin boutiques, leased apartments in high-end department stores, and through e-commerce section of its website. Louis Vuitton merged with Moet Hennessy in 1987 to create LVMH, of which it is a subsidiary. For 6 consecutive years, from 2006, the year I moved from Kent to Dorset, to 2012, which is the year that CERN claims to have discovered the Higgs boson and God particle. Loads of other stuff happened that year as well, the end of the Mayan calendar, supposedly. Louis Vuitton was named the world's most valuable luxury brand, and during World War II, it was collaborating with the Nazis during the German occupation of France, creating another possible link to the Church of Satan. And you can go and verify that. This is just from this information. Of course, I don't know that this particular information is true, because it's what somebody has positioned there and possibly them. However, when you link it in with the Companies House records, it becomes critical. Peter Charles Sells connects Louis Vuitton UK Limited to 51 companies, including Christian Dior UK Limited. Interesting name, isn't it? Christian Dior, which we've all heard of, I'm sure, where they had been appointed in 1993 and resigned in June 2001. Less than a month before Larry Silverstein acquired the lease for the World Trade Center. And the World Trade Center was originally started to be built in 1966, which was the foundation of the Church of Satan. It was then finished being built in 1973, which is when the SWIFT international transaction system started to be used, which we actually are going to talk about later, and how that ties in potentially now with Taylor Swift, okay, and the Church of Satan. And 1973, when it was completed, is the same year that the Soylent Green movie came out, which was linked to MGM Studios. MGM Studios is linked to the first intercontinental ballistic missile via an Atlas company. And also it is connected to Atlas, is the same name as the experiment that was conducted at CERN, or the Large Hadron Collider, which is overseen by CERN, in 2012, when they claimed to discover the Higgs boson, or God particle, where, I mean, it's almost certain now that either they've set it up for me to expose it, or they actually did try and create the end of creation through the point of singularity using that technology, and how that ties in with the Church of Satan as a complete mockery and inversion against the creator. Anyway, so we had this. What else was I going to say about that? I've forgotten. Anyway, Karen. This company had been incorporated in 1993 and has ICC company formations on its incorporation document, linking to the criminal network. Research shows that Christian Ernest Dior was a French fashion designer and founder of one of the world's top fashion houses, Christian Dior SE. His fashion house is known all around the world, having gained prominence on 5 continents in only a decade. In 1942, when Dior left the army, he joined the fashion house of Lucien, interesting name, also very similar to Lucifer, Lyon, where he and Balmain were the primary designers. For the duration of World War II, Dior, as an employee of Lyon, designed dresses for the wives of the Nazi officers and French collaborators, as did other fashion houses that remained in business during the war, including Jean Patou, Jean Lanvin, and some others there. A further link to the Nazi regime and deception. Now, Elon Musk is linked straight into CERN and the Collider technology, and he did the Nazi salute. Do you remember, during a conference that he was involved in 2024, I think? I think it was 2024, 2025. Sergei Francois Bouchwig connects Louis Vuitton UK Limited to Celine UK Limited. It was incorporated in 1996, and Ernst & Young is on its incorporation document, making the link again to Fieldfisher, which means the BBC, the Royals, the main currency producer, the Vatican, the Sweeney Todd Group, vampirism, the consumption and transfusion of blood of the innocents, and major areas of the criminal network and apparent crimes against children are shown elsewhere. I suspect that this relates to Celine Dion, who has already been linked to the research of NATO, which links into the United Nations and the crimes against the children, as shown elsewhere. Spelling mistake there. Guiton Julien Louis Fabry connects Louis Vuitton UK to Yves Saint Laurent UK Limited, where they had been appointed in January 2022, and they resigned on the 13th of July 2022, the exact same day that Anthony Roberts resigned from Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited, triggering my investigation. It had been a criminal company, having been incorporated with the same companies as Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited. I wonder if do I show you that? Where are we going? I'll show you that quickly if I've got the link here, if I put it in there. So we've got Fabry from Louis Vuitton. I've got the Louis Vuitton. I'll put the link here. So Louis Vuitton into Fabry. Into Yves Saint Laurent, incorporated in 1991. That's when my favourite movie came out, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, everybody. Judgment Day. You can see that it was called Permit Smart. Hopefully I've got the right company here. It should have the same companies as Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited, which is Swift Incorporation, St Jordan. Swift becomes relevant later, as you're going to see if we have time tonight. How many people we've got in here? 67. It's not enough people really, but there you go. Swift Incorporations Limited, okay? That links to the falsified prophetic link to Darren Brown and the asteroid strike on the Earth called Swift. And we're going to see later how it appears now to be linking into a dual role. I now suspect, because the evidence is now becoming quite strong, that Taylor Swift is playing a dual role linking with the Church of Satan. I can't ignore that information now. And you've also got, so Swift Incorporations is the same company as Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited, where my investigation began and where I acquired forged bank documents, and where Deborah Fleming, who was the NHS Chief Executive Officer, retired from the NHS to become involved in that. and she was the one that initiated my removal when I continued to try and prevent their criminal network via the forgery of the filing forged bank documents. Oh no, don't get rid of it. No. So we mentioned Yves Saint Laurent. Oh no, research cert. Yeah, I mentioned that bit. Where are we? Yeah, Yves Saint Laurent was a French fashion designer who founded his eponymous fashion label in 1962. This is the apparent year of the infiltration of the royal family. He is widely regarded as one of the foremost designers of the 20th century. That year is also when the main Siemens company was incorporated on Companies House that links to CERN, the Collider technology, the falsified prophecies, and connects to, as I've said, Elon Musk, and also connects to, what's his name, Jeffrey Epstein. That's via the Edge Foundation immediately from that Siemens company. And it changed its name within 2 or 3 weeks of me exposing it for the first time since 1962 on the 5th of May 2025. Brian Stephen Garner connects complete off. Oh, no, gone to the wrong bit here now. Why is that? Searching that. Okay, let's go back to. Mention that. Oh, sorry. In 1973, Laurent began a 6-month affair with Karl Lagerfeld's companion Jacques de Boucher. Berge ended their liaison in 1974, accusing Boucher and Lagerfeld of being responsible for Saint Laurent's mental health issues and his increasing interest in hard drugs and sadomasochism. Now, this is a massive part of what we're seeing here, okay? The corrupted sex industry, which has escalated out of control, leading into children and all sorts, and how it's linking in with the blood of the children, and also linking in with the international drug trafficking network. And as you can see, that mentions the drugs in relation to Yves Saint Laurent and the sadomasochism. Now, remember, this is our intelligence agencies are linked to this now. This is our heads of police. These are our MPs. These are our governments. These are the heads of the NHS. They are completely lost, everybody. Completely irrational. Okay, completely. I haven't got a clue what they're doing. Okay, they are very, very in a very dangerous situation for the rest of humanity because of their irrationality, because they have separated so far now from the creator. They've got no moral conscience. All right, they're involved in drug trafficking. They're involved in the crimes against the children. According to all of the research, we are in a very, very difficult situation, everybody. Anyway, Thomas Anton Megel connects Louis Vuitton UK Limited to Whitechapel Gallery Ventures Limited that had been incorporated in 2005. Bates, Wells and Braithwaite is on its incorporation document, making an immediate connection to the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales that connects most areas of the fraud to me, to my upbringing, and to Keir Starmer via the Death Penalty Project Limited, to Madeline's Fund, linking to Madeleine McCann, and to P. Diddy, because he used Bates, Wells and Braithwaite in his defence, according to the research, for the child trafficking allegations against him, and much more, as shown elsewhere. Thomas Norman Wilcox connects Whitechapel Gallery Ventures Limited to Whitechapel Gallery Trustee Limited, which makes important connections in the research, including immediately to the research of James Elefantis regarding the Pizzagate scandal, linking back in with the Clintons. Duncan William Melville Ackery connects Whitechapel Gallery Ventures Limited to 9 companies, including ESC Catering Limited. It was incorporated in 2006 and has Waterlow and Sons in its Waterlow. I think that's meant to say just a Waterlow company. It might be Waterlow and Sons in its incorporation document, making the link to the Freemasons, Donald Trump, the Royals, Jimmy Savile, the Collider Technology, Earthquake Evidence, the main currency producer, Sweeney Todd Group, vampirism, and much more again. Anthony Charles Burton connects ESC Catering Limited to the Death Penalty Project Limited, the exact same company that I've mentioned a moment ago, where Keir Starmer was a former director. I suspect this ESC company, to ESC Films, which is it's shown in the research of the United Nations and NATO's links to illegal spying using Chinese entertainment devices, as shown elsewhere. Richard, where there's evidence suggesting they have been spying on you in your homes and listening to you, not for security of the nations at all, but how it ties in to the sex industry and the crimes against the children, and obviously being able to target any individuals by listening on your devices at home through your phones to identify people that may risk exposing their criminal network and the crimes against the children. Richard Jamie Midgley connects ECS Catering Limited to 86 companies, including the Kevin Spacey Foundation. I forgot to put it in here, but I'm going to put obviously some of the articles in relation to the, if you're not aware, the scandals surrounding Kevin Spacey, the Hollywood actor, linking into sex scandals. Well, now we can see why, because it's all linking in with the Church of Satan. This has been incorporated in 2008 and it dissolved in 2018. It has HAL companies on its incorporation document, and they link with the research of the Israel attacks of 2023, which is an escalation into falsified prophecies and major areas of the criminal network via that. Hamish Andrew Jenkinson connects the Kevin Spacey Foundation to 11 companies, including Free the Children UK, that has been incorporated and connects, didn't put the date, and connects to the child trafficking network and the blood of the children by Waterlows on its incorporation document. Again, these will be an inversion, okay, of the truth. So free the children, in other words, enslave the children. Jenkinson also connects to Old Vic Theatre, in brackets, Tunnels Limited. Interesting, isn't it? Hey, tunnel systems that had been incorporated in January 2011. Well, I can presume that will relate to tunnel systems under that building. I don't know. Less than a month before the Christchurch earthquake, its incorporation document shows Waterlows and the Old Vic Theatre Trust 2000. Well, the Old Vic Theatre Trust 2000 had already been connected directly to Lord Richard Samuel Attenborough, Beaver Films Limited, a Deraya company linking to the Vatican, Sweeney Todd Group again, and vampirism, to the British Film Academy, to British Academy of Film and Television Arts, to the research of Fred West, serial killer, to Global Radio Limited, to Duke of York's Theatre, Duke of York, and therefore making a connection potentially to Prince Andrew, as shown in the research of the death of Jill Dando, and making major connections to the centralised criminal network and the blood of the innocents. Articles from March 2026 claim luxury brands are closing premises due to the Middle East war, which is a deception. So let's have a look at those articles just so you can see these. Here's an article: Middle East conflict forces luxury store closures, full brand by brand breakdown, £6 billion market at risk. This is, as I've said, you can see at the top there, from March 2026, as I'm continuing the exposure. And you can see it's got Prada there. Prada, Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Okay, so the whole deception of the war is also, it seems, being used as an excuse for lots of premises to be closing because of the exposure of the crimes against the children. All right, so it's all a deception. Everything you're seeing at the moment is an absolute lie. It's therefore against the creator. All right, it's against moral conscience. It is evil in my mind because it is an opposite of truth and transparency. There's also this. Is it this one? Yeah, another luxury retailer closes its only Al location, and it lays off the staff. This is in a luxury apparel brand. It's closed its Birmingham location and laid off staff for the second time in the past month. What date was this? Louis Vuitton. I think it said the date when I was actually going into it, so it's fairly recent, I think. Okay, just a quick little search for Church of Satan. This was just unbelievable. Okay, so I thought, was it this one? No, it wasn't this one. It's a bit later. A search for the Church of Satan company's house through Google reveals Satan Limited that had been incorporated on the 10th of November 2022. As I escalated my inquiries at Exbourne Manor, and shortly after Elon Musk wore a Baphomet, the symbol of the Church of Satan, It is shown as being in the process of being struck from the register. I'll just show you that quickly. Satan Limited, incorporated November 2022 when I was escalating my inquiries, and they're actively proposing to strike it from the register. The Church of Satan was established at the Black House in San Francisco, California, on the 30th of April 1966 by LaVey, who was the church's high priest until his death in 1997, within 2 months of Princess Diana's. Within 2 weeks of Princess Diana's death, they released the movie Event Horizon. Horizon refers to the point of singularity within a black hole, okay, and that actually movie related to the black hole, and its main star was Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne was an ambassador for UNICEF. UNICEF is the organization that was started in 1946 and was supposedly to help children in times of conflict. It's actually, according to all of my evidence, deliberately been set up to actually target the children in times of conflict, to steal them through those conflicts and take their blood and organ harvesting, use them for very sinister means from those conflicts. And we're paying for it, everybody. We've been paying for it all. Unbelievable. And now they're going to pay to kill everybody, okay, and end all of creation with your money. That's how big the inversion is, or that's what the evidence suggests. If you don't turn this around, if you don't follow my strategy and start making arrests, they're going to build this technology according to all of the research, and this is just supporting it now in a massive, massive way, and they're going to try and create a point of singularity on Earth, all right, and create a tribulation event according to all of my research. It could be a deception laid up for me because of who I am. Could be. Do you want to take that chance? I don't, all right? Doesn't seem as though they're ready to, with the technology, enough to create the point of singularity. But it may be, and the end of creation, but the evidence suggests they've got the ability to create earthquakes and potentially a tribulation event on Earth, okay? And there may be no stopping that, everybody, all right? There may be no stopping that. But I don't think that's meant to happen, because I don't think I would have this evidence otherwise. So I think my role is to give humanity the chance to do the right thing, to prevent a tribulation event, a fake tribulation event, okay, which they would have been creating, which they're going to try and create, I suspect. Now, it could be that that is a deception, and actually the real creator is going to create a tribulation event, and they want me to think that it's actually them, and want, through me, get you to believe that it's them, so then you don't believe in the creator doing it. That's a possibility, because they don't want the creator and moral conscience to be the focus of everybody's attention, you see, and for people to be having a belief in the creator, according to all of my research. That's what it seems. The Black House was built a location in California, in America, in the United States. The house was used by Anton LaVey. I've mentioned this the other day, but I'm just going to mention it again. When he died, or after he died, interestingly, on the 17th of October 2001, they tried to repurchase the property, but they failed, and it was demolished. This was just over a month after the World Trade Center disaster. Just over a month after the World Trade Center disaster. And, hold on, let me, what about here? Yeah, sorry. Just over a month after the World Trade Center disaster, and exactly a month to the day that the Genocide Act was repealed in Scotland. And Scotland was very relevant. It's where the Reformation began, which started forming all of the governments back in the 15th century, which links into the church establishment, which links into the German company again, which now I'm pretty certain will be linking into satanic elements, probably going right back then. And German company Gutenberg created the first Bible, printed the first Bible. So it was a month to the day after the Genocide Act was repealed. In other words, they got rid of the Genocide Act. And I suspect that's because the Genocide Act had information in there that stopped them taking children from times of conflict. But they would have been doing it before anyway. But it may be they did that deliberately, knowing I would find it because of who I may be. But Peter Gilmore became the high priest that year as well, of the high priest of the Church of Satan. But the exact date that happened appears to be unavailable. Right, now this is new, and this just blew my mind. So Walpurgis Night okay, is the night that the Church of Satan was named after, or when it was created on that night, and it's the eve of the Christian feast day of Saint Valpurga, okay, on the 8th century abbess in Francia, and is celebrated on the night of the 30th of April and on the day of the 1st of May. This is, I believe, where you're going to have May Day, and also you've got Slaughter and May, remember, is relevant in all of this. Slaughter and the month of May, I suspect that represents. This feast commemorates the canonization of Saint Valpurga and the movement of her relics to a location, both of which occurred on the 1st of May 870, according to this. Now that's interesting, because that is 1,000 years to the year before the Vatican was infiltrated, okay, linking in with the Church of Satan now. Now that is not going to be a coincidence. 1,000 years is to the year. I mean, that's very relevant. Is that right? Hold on. Am I getting that wrong? Yeah, 1,000 years. Yeah, because it was 1870. Yeah, it was 1870. Oh, my brain was going then. 1870, and then when the Vatican was infiltrated, then it was the year afterwards. Sorry, I had a bit of a silly moment there. It was the year afterwards that the Albert Pike letter was written to Mazzini, setting out the 3 world wars to bring about the light of Lucifer. On searching, now this just blew my mind. On searching Walpurgisnacht, okay, which is the exact name for that night, Company's House through Google, it revealed the tab of a person of significant control, the tab of this person of significant control for Bournemouth Festivals Limited. Unbelievable. I'm just going to show you the screenshot. I think I've got it here somewhere. Get past these horrible pictures of me from screenshotting when I was on a live. Where is it? Here we go. So you can see at the top there. Oh, this is me where I've typed it in. Top there, you can see Walpurgisnacht. I put nothing about Bournemouth whatsoever, and the very first entry is Bournemouth Festivals Limited, where my investigation began, everybody. That is not going to be a coincidence, okay? And the fact that it's a festival is relevant with what I'm going to be talking about now. It's because we've got a few more people on here. If you can, please, this is the most important evidence on earth by far at the moment, all right? Because this is the evidence that has the ability to change the world forever, because you've got the proof of it all through the Company's House records. That links into the financial system, where they've been exploiting and victimizing children, and you. The entire world has been, or most of the world has been exploited, victimized, and in relation to all of this. So here's Bournemouth Festivals Limited. Richard, I'll bring it up in the screen in a minute. Richard Stannard connects Bournemouth Festivals Limited to the Temple Concept, spelling wrong there, that had been incorporated on the 3rd of March 2022, less than a month before Deborah Fleming retired as an NHS Chief Executive Officer to become involved. Companies Made Simple is on its incorporation document, making the link to the paedophile information exchange and the World Trade Center disaster. Angelica Francesco Carosa is in the People record, and a search shows a duplicate record connected to A&E Adventures Limited of an address in Wales, possibly making the link to the medical industry. Remember, Deborah Fleming was, as I said, the Chief Executive Officer of the NHS. Just going to show you that quickly, if I can remember the name. Here's Bournemouth Festivals. We go to the overview, and you can see it was incorporated on the 7th of September 2010. You've got an address in Sandbanks in Poole, which is very close to where my investigation began. So one of the most expensive places on earth. That is apparently is where lots of footballers live. And within, is it this one? Was it this name? Oh, interesting. There's some interesting things I'm seeing here now. No, Dorset Music. See, I need to go back into this Dorset Music Forum. That's going to become relevant. Oh, here we are. Stannard, I think. Here we go. Temple Concept. So remember, you got the Satanic Temple, United Kingdom. You got the Knights Templar linking in with this, but potentially they're good in this. They're trying to hide the true bloodline of Christ to bring about a second coming through that true bloodline. It's possible. Just having a look what else. If you look on the incorporation document, You can see here it was incorporated in March 2022. If you research when Deborah Fleming resigned, you'll see it was the 31st of March 2022. So she resigned to become involved in Exmoor Manor Freehold Limited. You'll see the address in Bournemouth there for it. It was dissolved in 2023, which is when I escalated the exposure of the fraud. And if you look on the incorporation document, this won't mean much to you unless you've actually looked at the other evidence. But you'll see, and this leads to a connection trade centre disaster and the paedophile information exchange, and where they removed a company name from a document, possibly deliberately, so that I would find it. Because they're probably now using me because of who I am, I suspect, or who they're trying to make it seem as I am. But my dreams and everything else, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that I am who they're trying to make me think I am. But anyway, you've got this leads to Companies Made Simple, leads to an incorporation document that's had its name removed, and that connects to Silverstein Real Estates, which then ties into the paedophile information exchange and the government fund that was given to Larry Silverstein after the World Trade Center disaster through a So any of you that don't know, if you're part of this, I can't see the comments. You really do need to get on the right side. You do need to follow my strategy. You need to do what you can to save the children, and you need to be willing to risk yourselves in this. If you're not willing to do that, unfortunately, it's really looking like they're just going to end everything. They're going to carry out a falsified prophetic event, according to all of the research. I hope not. I really pray not. But if humanity aren't going to do anything with the children, and let's presume there's some innocent people on here that I'm talking to, and not one of you are doing what is required to try and prove that humanity is saving, it's no good just having me doing it. I don't know if I can be the only one that will justify them not carrying out an event against creation. I don't know, but let's hope that's a deception. But we've got to say, does humanity deserve to carry on if we're going to lead into the end of all of creation? Now there it looks as though potentially going to try and end all of creation. Possibly they're going to try and do it in a way that it ends humanity and doesn't end all of creation. I don't know whether that's how I don't know. But at the end of the day, if we're going to risk the end of all of creation because the lead in towards science, now it's because of these people, okay, they're behind all of this. However, it's been facilitated by all of you, and it continues to be facilitated by you all if you don't follow my strategy and you don't do the right thing, which then means you're going to be facing possibly the judgment situation. So to avoid that, we need all of humanity to unite over this, and to get that to happen, we just need a few of you who are on the right side of this to start doing the right thing. Okay, the ball will then roll, snowball. You have a domino effect, and I think we will then lead ourselves out of the risk to end of the creation into a new system and bring about heaven on earth through that exposure and through that change. Anyway, on the Companies Made Simple on it, incorporating, making the link to the paedophile information exchange of World Trade Center. Angela Francesco Carosa is in the, connects that. Yeah, I've said that. Okay. Further back, why haven't I mentioned that here? Or have I? Maybe I just didn't put it back in. Oh, there we go. Yeah. I missed a bit. Here. I forgot to say here that on searching Valpurgis Company's house, it came to the Bournemouth festivals, and I need to go and show you that because this is important. And it revealed us it had been incorporated on the 1st of July 2008, which is also linking in with when the Large Hadron Collider was first activated. I think it was activated that month? I think it might have been that month, actually, which is interesting. If it's the same day, I can't remember. I'll have to check that. And this is when the Ninth Circle movie came out, which links to my dreams. Okay, so this isn't going to be a coincidence, everybody. I mean, the evidence is overwhelming that who I'm going to be in this, it looks like. And this was, as we said, Sandbanks. Its incorporation document shows G and Law. I'm going to look at the incorporation document. Let's go to it so we can see it. And this is the Bournemouth Festivals Company one. It only takes 5 of you, or even one of you, to be honest with you, to actually do this strategy, give this strategy a go, to actually trigger the domino effect. It literally just requires one person. And many of you will be able to get somebody to go with you. So, you really need to be doing this now, everyone. Let's hopefully this document. It's not there. We've got an address in Southampton there, you can see. Another address in Bournemouth there, Marina Towers. And this is interesting what I'm going to show you here, because of the threat from the frequencies. So you've got GND Law Solicitors in Oxford Road in Bournemouth. Okay, this is very, very close to Exbourne Manor. And Oxford Road is where the solicitors that they're trying to use against me for a criminal, it's a civil case, but it's completely criminal what they're doing. The solicitor is Lester Aldridge, and they have an address linked to them in Oxford Road, and that links straight to my wife's family via the research. All 3 of my families connect with Jimmy Savile, Elon Musk, David Icke, falsified prophecies, Julian Assange, Doomsday Cult, which connects in with Deborah Fleming, all connected very, very quickly. Here on the incorporation document, I thought this is very relevant. So bearing in mind this is a festival company, okay, and I know that Glastonbury Festival, one of the biggest companies, or biggest festivals, sorry, in the world, that company, Glastonbury Festivals, has also been incorporated with the same companies as Exbourne Manor Free Limited. So it's been a criminal company, okay, for a very long time. And here we have Noiseless Publishing. Okay, we've also got a music company, Selection Records. So presumably a music company, Selection Records, and Noiseless Publication Limited in the festival company. Now, I think have you heard of silent discos? I think that's a bit of an inversion, if you like, a mockery of what they've been doing and using frequency sound that people can't hear, but they can subconsciously. Okay, so if you play music or a sound at a particular frequency, and I think the sound is very relevant rather than the music, because that gives the ability to implant messages within the sound to program people's mind. Your subconscious will pick it up, but your conscience won't. It's the same as if you flicker an image very, very quickly with something that you're engrossed on television, for example. You won't subconsciously, consciously, you won't recognize it or take it in. Subconsciously, your brain will. It's the same with sounds. So I think what they're telling us through this evidence, and what I'm establishing through this evidence, is that they are using soundless frequencies to control humanity. And I think this is why a lot of people aren't waking up to the truth. This is why people are so scared. And this also now ties into the radio systems used by the emergency services around the world, the police, the military, the ambulances, etc. This isn't just the United Kingdom. And I've got the evidence coming in from those radio systems tying into all of this. So anyway, I think this is very, very relevant. And of course, if you've followed my evidence, you'll know that Exbourne Manor connects immediately to Jimmy Savile. And what was Jimmy Savile particularly famous for? Music. Okay, music. And he is linking into the research of the Vatican. And remember, within the cell tower that was erected in 1898, the first wireless communication tower that was erected on the Isle of Wight, involving Marconi. Marconi had been involved in the radio station at the Vatican. So this gives the ability to, I believe, through the sound frequencies at the Vatican, to control and take over the Vatican, as well as other means of them doing that. How many people we got on here? 83. It's gone down a little bit. Okay, I'll carry on for a little bit. So a search for Noiseless Publishing Limited, that company we've just seen, reveals Noiseless Printing Limited, having been incorporated in 2021, which is when I moved back into Exbourne Manor. Okay, I think it was the end of 2020, but I think it was actually 2021, but potentially the end of 2020. And it dissolved on the 19th of July, 2022, 6 days after Anthony Roberts of Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited resigned as the director, triggering my investigation. It has a registered address of Unit D2, Brook Street Business Centre, and J. Thomas, born February 1981, is the only entry in the people record. I'll just show you that quickly. Noiseless printing. Bearing in mind the other company was Noiseless Publishing, okay? And that you can see 19th of July 2022, but that is 6 days after Anthony Roberts of Exmoor Manor resigned. Now, if we go, notice the address, Unit 2, D2, sorry, Brook Street. And just have a look at the people record. If we look at the people record here, you see one name of J. Thomas, okay? We go back to the document. Another record for J. Thomas, because they create duplicate records, and there's various for J. Thomas. A record for J. D. Thomas of the same address connects to 4 companies, including Red Brick Accountancy. They had been incorporated in February 2020 and dissolved in 2021. So I'll just show you that quickly because it becomes relevant. So they link to PB Printing, and you've also got Red Brick Accountancy. Notice we've got the printing connection again, publishing coming through from this. Red Brick Accountancy. And you'll notice it was dissolved in 2021, and it's got February 2020 when it started. So 2 months, after the COVID outbreak. So remember, this is Red Brick Accountancy. A separate search shows that Blue Brick Accountancy Limited had been incorporated as Red Brick Accountancy Limited in February 2018 before its name was changed in May 2018. So very quick change of name, and it dissolved in February 2019 on the lead up to the COVID deception. Malcolm Anthony Farquhar, whatever that name is. Now this is interesting because these references I'm finding are tying in with Shrek, and you're going to see some more references to Shrek later, or a slight variation on the name of Shrek in relation to the Church of Satan. Now, Shrek and Farquhar was a very small King Farquhar, I think his name was Farquhar, in the Shrek movie that came out in 2001, the same year as the World Trade Center disaster, okay? And Farquhar is a small king. Interesting. Bearing in mind, this all ties into Return of the King and the Lord of the Rings as well. Malcolm Anthony Farquhar here is the only record in the people record and connects to 4 companies, including UK Wholesale Handbags. Now, remember what we've been talking about, Louis Vuitton, okay, and these links into the leather goods. Well, now we have a handbag company, okay, that have been incorporated as Sally Young Handbags on the 25th of June 2016, when the Pizzagate scandal was being exposed, and it then changed its name on the 1st of August 2016, which is the same month that a ritual took place at CERN at the Shiva statue, which represents creation and destruction. It is shown as being in the process of being struck from the register, the address of Southampton, where Deborah Fleming had been the NHS Chief Executive Officer. As companies made simple on its incorporation document, making the link to the Peter Information Exchange and the World Trade Center disaster. So this is a company called UK Wholesale Handbags. Okay, bearing in mind, we've just been looking, as I've said, at Louis Vuitton. An internet search for Sally Young handbags. Sally Young suggests that it had been incorporated in 1989, the same year that the World Wide Web was created for CERN. That there appears to be no items on its collection page. I'll just show you that quickly. What have I just done there? Oh, that's good. Not too far from it. I just scrolled up accidentally. So this is Sally Young. Doesn't look like it, but it is. And you can see, will it allow me to zoom in? There we go. Established in 1989, the same year the World Wide Web was created for CERN. Talks about luxury handbags there. You can see having a luxury handbag draped over your arm. Lusted after beautiful bags, which have been enhanced. Which have been enhanced by, I haven't read this actually, by celebrity culture. Interesting. Very interesting. Is that a sign? Celebrity culture, the skinning of children and then putting it into the handbags and into the leather goods. Bold linings, give practical space. Anyway, I'll read that all a bit later. That's probably going to become a bit more relevant than I realised. If you look on the collection page, when I looked earlier, I don't think there was anything on there. Yeah, nothing there. Okay, so this is a front I suspect for the blood of the children, tying in with the skin being used in the handbags, linking in with the Italian high-level luxury goods. And remember the Savile Row evidence that I've already been talking about that links in with the entertainment industry and a hunting company linked to aristocratic tailoring and leather goods, including the princes of Wales, prime ministers, presidents, etc., and people within the entertainment industry. Valide van Fandu is on one of two entries in the People Record, which connects the wholesale handbags to 5 companies, including Eurochance. Oh, yeah, sorry. So a separate search shows Wholesale Handbags Limited, having been incorporated in November 2017 after the Pizzagate scandal had been exposed. Bearing in mind the other company was Wholesale Handbags UK or whatever it was. Walid Fandau is probably a made-up name, is one of 2 entries in the People Record and connects Wholesale Handbags Limited to 5 companies, including Eurochance Limited, that have been incorporated on the 8th of September 2009, days before I became a director at Exmoor Manor Freehold Limited, and the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales was incorporated on the 29th of September that year. It has Barbara Cahan and 790 Finchley Road in its People Record, connecting directly to Carter and Coley, the accountant for Exmoor Manor Freehold Limited, where my investigation began, and friends of the Flemings. It also connects them to the pornography industry via Pornhub and major areas of the criminal network, and information linking them to international dictators, mafia, corrupt politicians, as well as shown via the research. Now, Deborah Fleming's linked to a church organisation. She's linked to a Christian organisation. Let this all sink in, everybody. So she is linked to massively the blood, torture and murder and crimes against children, the blood of children in all of this, and the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan. And she's been going to a church organisation, which, remember, Christianity says love thy neighbour. Well, they've gone completely against that. The whole system is completely against that. We know that because love thy neighbour is the basis of moral conscience, isn't it? Treat everybody how you would want to be treated in a rational state of mind. Okay, the whole system they've got in place has gone completely against that. They've gone against Christianity. They've integrated blood within Christianity and the other 2 Abrahamic faiths. There's a halal company which links to the draining of the blood from animals, and the Muslim faith linking into all of these people away as well. And that's because the blood element is so important to all of them. Okay, and I believe that is because they are trying to extend the lives of a select few, because they are absolute pathetic cowards, okay, and would rather cause the suffering of the most innocent and harvest off of the innocent to extend their lives because they're so scared of death. It's pathetic. Now, of course, case, then the end of creation event might be a deception, or you might have a select few within that group that are also deceived to live forever, and that will be a judgment against them as well. Ironic, it's quite ironic, isn't it? The people behind the criminal network are linked to the blood of the children, possibly to extend their lives, and yet someone within their system of crime is going to, it seems, end all of their lives along with everyone else's potentially end of creation event. It's a complete and utter deception against all of humanity. But of course, many people should not be judged. Those that are now, we've all been sinful, but we've all been also deceived through the. Now, that sin may be you've had a bit to drink and then you've spoken to someone in a way that you would never normally speak to them, and the next day you feel guilt. Okay, it could be as something like that. But we've all done something wrong. But it's because of their system. All right, they're behind the alcohol. If you wouldn't have had the alcohol in the first place, okay, and they wouldn't have promoted it so much, then you wouldn't have said that in that thing that you said wrong to somebody. Okay, on the more extreme level, people that get drunk and end up hitting people in a fight or whatever, or hurting their partner, they probably wouldn't have done it if the alcohol for these people in the first place. All right, you see, so the whole system is set up to remove the irrationality, remove the moral conscience, and lead towards a sinful situation and an event which triggers a false prophetic conclusion in this. All right, I don't think you can fairly judge somebody by taking their life in a catastrophic event who have been deceived by a criminal network, removing their rationality and separating them from their moral conscience, to leading to them committing a sinful act. It would not be a fair judgment. So this is why I don't believe the tribulation event should be taking place. I believe the event needs to be the almost an inversion of the, which it looks like that was a double cross, but let's just presume that was a real event. So we've been told that it was, obviously, by the Christian faith. Almost an inversion of that, where they are going to need to become the sacrifice through the truth. So through that truth comes the transparency, becomes the new system, the safeguarding of children and of humanity and of creation through that new system. But in doing that, they need to become the sacrifice through that truth, face the consequences here on earth. But in doing so, I believe they will be saved and receive salvation, I believe, through that truth, repentance, commitment to change collectively with the rest of humanity to lead us into a new earth. But there will obviously, that will be, I believe, a spiritual salvation. However, they will need to face the consequences here on earth. So that is where they become the sacrifice through the truth and through this evidence. That is what I believe has to happen, needs to happen, and potentially will happen. Particularly if the innocent follow my strategy. Mention that. Research shows this blew my mind. In fact, I'm going to leave it there because it's 12 o'clock. Let's leave it there tonight, and I'll do this. I'll do a live stream. Can I come on tomorrow night? I don't want to say yes because I might be still doing more research. I'll say yes. Let me just say yes. So I'll come on live tomorrow at I don't want to do it too late, do I? Let's say 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock tomorrow. I'll come on, I'll do a live, and we'll go through some of this evidence here, and it's pretty mind-blowing. We're going to be talking about the daughter of the founder of the Church of Satan and seeing where that leads. It's very, very relevant into all of this. I wish I'd looked at it earlier, but hey, I didn't. It becomes critical to all of the evidence. So come back on my YouTube tomorrow at 9 o'clock, tomorrow evening, and we'll go through this evidence. And then what I'll do is a little TikTok video afterwards for people that want to come on and ask questions and want to talk about what I've just shown in that evidence. Thanks very much, everybody. Really appreciate you watching. It's a shame we haven't got more people.